Well, this is it, the 12th and final race of the 2025 Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia. We've had the first of two races here at Misano. It's a 16-turn circuit. It's tight, it's technical. The sun may just be burning through the clouds after a rather grey day here in autumn. But alongside me have Jack Bartholomew, who's raced these cars across the years, across the continents. The temperature, or the lack thereof, is going to be the main concern for the drivers.
Yeah, for sure. It's really got quite chilly this afternoon. There's a bit of a sort of afternoon fog. For the guys coming over from Asia that are used to hot and humid conditions, it's going to be a real struggle to generate that heat in the first few laps.
Yeah, the cars, when they pull away from the grid, will have two formation laps. But right now, 5 minutes ago, there was no light on the grid. It was really cloudy. Now it's burning through, but track temperature stays resolutely 15 degrees. That's about 5 degrees cooler than when they raced yesterday. Air temperature, not even 13 degrees. You would need a scarf in the pits, not in the cars. But for all the drivers here, the focus is on trying to see if they can get into first place, into the first corner. Let's go straight down to Dakota. She's with Ethan Brown, who'll be taking the second part of the race in the car that starts third.
Another fantastic Super Trofeo Asia grid, the last one of the season. Now, the sun was behind a huge cloud, but it seems to be coming directly down onto us now. This might make it a little bit challenging for the drivers to see, or am I completely off?
We do have tinted visors, so it's not as hard as you might make it seem, but, you know, it's still good. Jacob's all set to go.
Obviously, championship points here, so you're probably feeling a little bit nervous, but you seem cool, calm, collected. How are you feeling?
No, I'm always nervous. If anyone says they're nervous, they're lying to you. But no, look, Jacob's really trusty co-driver, and he's done an amazing job, so he'll get it done.
There you go. We'll leave you alone to set your thoughts in line. Thank you very much, Ethan. That's Ethan Brown here on the top of the grid.
Yeah, Ethan, the young driver from Singapore, his first season in the championship, and the fact he's already got 2 wins in the bank shows a really impressive start to his Lamborghini Super Trofeo career. Now, just worth pointing out, we may have a field of 21 cars. Tick that box. We've also got 4 classes. They come in Pro, Pro-Am, Am, and Lamborghini Cup. And 3 of those titles, in other words, all except Pro-Am, have already been sorted, with yesterday providing a couple more class winners. Sutiluk Buncharen taking the Am title. And yesterday, Alex Denning and Charles Leong ended up with the overall title. And as if by magic, Dakota is with Alex Denning.
It is by magic. Here we are. Second row of the grid, Alex. Obviously a great race for you yesterday. Used all the track, even the green stuff. Bit of a risk today with the green stuff because obviously it's a little bit slippery. I don't know if you felt it yourself. But you're not starting in the car, Charles is. So you've won the championship. Charles started in the car. You can just relax, right?
Yeah, well, the green is that side. We might try the blue today, see if that works. Yeah, we don't need to risk too much. We've already won the championship, so I think the pressure's kind of off. But yeah, we're still going to go for the win and hopefully bring the win tally up to 8 today.
Who has your eye been on the whole season? Obviously, Asia is a different field for you. You know, you're from Ireland. You've come all the way to the unexpected side of the world in Asia. Who else has your eye been on as you've been going through the championship?
Yeah, the Americans can't get over it. Seeing the Irish person racing in Asia, they said that doesn't make much sense. But yeah, I think Brendan's been quick all year. He is in both the European and the Asian Championship this weekend. Hampus and Danny Formal are also looking very strong. So yeah, there's a couple of people in the States. There's definitely a couple of people that are strong in both the European and Asian Championship, but I think yesterday came together very nicely for us. We're just going to focus on ourselves for the next couple of days.
Go on, Alex, always on top form. Good luck for the race and also good luck for Charles. Thanks very much. That's Alex Denning.
Thank you very much, Dakota. And the green that Dakota was referring to was at the start yesterday. Alex Denning took the start, but he went off the track. He went onto the grass and went from third into first place before the first corner. The blue he's referring to is the painted section in front of the pit wall, which will be on the flank of his co-driver, Charles Leong, the driver from Macau, who SJM Theodore Racing picked up when he was in Formula 4 single-seaters and propelling him forward into the world of Super Trofeo and maybe further up the sports car ladder as well. But here we are, 21 cars out to play, and it's not their final races of the season. It's the final Asian Super Trofeo round, but Saturday and Sunday, tomorrow and the day after, here at Misano, we have the gathering of the 3 Super Trofeo championships, Asia, Europe, North America, for the World Finals. We'll get to that later. Let's go down to the unluckiest driver yesterday. Jonathan Chicotto didn't get to start the race. Why not? He's with Dakota.
Jonathan, absolutely was not your day yesterday. What exactly happened? Obviously, Gavin told us that it was maybe a drive shaft issue, but I think you have the real answer for us.
Yeah, I thought so at the beginning, but it was the gearbox actually. So that stopped working on the first warm-up lap, even before the start of the race. So I didn't even have the pleasure to start the race. So yeah, I can't really be worse than that. I hope that today is going to be better.
Oh, today has to be better, doesn't it? Obviously, Gavin didn't really get a lot of drive time yesterday. So today, what's the advice? You've got two really strong competitors in front of you and two more in front of them, in fact. So is it just like keep everything until I get in the car, or is it go full power to the front of the grid?
Well, theoretically, we have 6 competitors in front of us, so 6 cars to overtake. Yeah, definitely the worst thing we can do is to get in trouble. So I told Gavin, just keep it easy. It's not too much about the positioning, but how far the leader is from us. So that's important, that the leader's not too far away, and then I'll take care of the rest.
Okay, let's see how it goes. Ethan's there, Alex is there, they're all there.
But I'm there as well.
Oh, there we go. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, well, that's the voice of confidence. Starting 7th on the grid, or more to the point, his teammate Gavin Huang is. But we've seen in previous World Finals, previous Asian Series rounds that Jonathan Cecotto can get the job done, but he's quite right. Don't want to drop back too far. You expect Gavin Huang to come in quite early for the pit window to give Jonathan the biggest chance to make up ground in the second part of the race. Now, one feature, Jack, is a lot of these races, particularly in the hotter environments, it's about keeping your tyres sweet for the final 5 laps or so, because if you push them too hard early on, great stuff. Not so good at the end, though, is it?
Yeah, definitely. You generally, with slick race tyres, once you get them up to temperature, you have a peak sort of lap 2, 3, 4 maybe. So for qualifying, that's your sort of peak window where you have maximum grip, and then there'll just be a steady decline throughout the race. Obviously, in the hot and humid conditions, that drop-off is more severe, so it's easy then if you start oversteering the car, so the back's sliding, or you're too aggressive on the power and you get wheel spin, you basically just make the tyres deteriorate even quicker. So in Asia, it's really important to be precise and smooth. You know, don't chase the entry and brake too late. Don't be too early on the power. Just generally just be smooth with your equipment. Over here, especially in the conditions we have here in November, you know, you've actually got to almost be a little bit on the other side. You've got to be quite aggressive to generate that heat. And because the ambient temperature isn't there, you can actually generally lean on the tyre a lot more because you haven't got the temperature in the tarmac.
OK, and let's throw that in. The first 2 laps, as you say, trying to get the heat in the tyres, but we see a lot of drivers just running out. They just don't have enough grip to that point till they come up to temperature. Running wide, notably at turn 3. You'll see it on the opening lap. You see it maybe the second, the third lap. But later in the race, of course, the officials are a little bit easy in the early laps. But then, if drivers keep on exceeding the track limits, they get a number of times, then they get a warning. Go beyond that, a 5-second penalty, and that can absolutely junk your race. So 2 formations coming up, 50 laps of racing, 1 pit stop, and for the drivers who are racing solo, they have to have an extra 3 seconds at a standstill. Is that fair? Is that not fair? Well, it is fair because they know exactly how the car's behaving, what the tyre conditions are like, the track state is like when they go back out. So it evens it out, but it does mean if you're driving solo, you've got to try and build 3 seconds in before your pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that in the US race this morning, that the guys were very close together. He did, I forget who it was, he didn't quite have a 3-second lead, so he actually lost the lead in the pits, and that track position, basically, he never regained the lead after that. So I think at Misano, track position is key. You know, if you're a solo driver, you really need to build a big gap in the first stint to allow yourself that buffer for the second stint.
You do, and the driver you were talking about was Nick Persing, who in fact ended up with victory because the car that crossed the line 2.5 seconds ahead of him had a 5-second penalty. That was Colin Queen who lost out. But these are all elements, and if you're in one of the other Super Trofeo series and you're watching the rival championships, if you will, you can still learn with every race. You can see who pushed too hard when it was only this morning 10 degrees track temperature, and who didn't push hard enough. And of course your team will be going, oh, should we have given you more tyre pressure to bring those tyres in sooner or not? But the good news for all the drivers, and certainly for the cameras, there it is, only 12 degrees air temperature. It's fallen since we started this broadcast. Track temperature staying at 15. That's not a lot, but we've got 50 minutes of racing coming up ahead of us. 2 formations formation laps before this, the 12th and final race at the 6th and final round of Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia for 2025. And really fingers crossed for car 211, the one that didn't get to start yesterday. Gavin Huang will be at the wheel of that to start the race. It's from BC Racing, and Jonathan Chicotto, love to see a charge. Whenever I've seen him race before, he will pick off positions. But let's focus on one other little factor, and here's the youngest driver in the race, Nick Stati. He's already won 2 races this weekend. He was second in the first of the Asian races, and sharing with Brendan Leach, who's on the front row this time. He won both of the European races here, and he only has done 1 previous meeting in Super Trofeo. So we'll, I'm sure, ride on board with him a lot. He's starting down in 6th position, but definitely one to watch. But let's just focus on the format of the circuit. It's a very short start-finish straight. You come round a tight corner on start-finish straight, all eyes on the starting gantry, and then it's a short dash to turn 1, which isn't a nice, gentle, open corner. It's a 90-degree right, followed by a 90 or 100-degree left, then to the right again. And you'll see quite a few misdemeanors run across the painted lines outside the circuit. You might gain a position, but you get a penalty. Right, Chris van der Drift, Kiwi on pole. Brendan Leach, Kiwi alongside. Look out for them. They're both running in a Pro-Am lineup, so they're going to have to try and stretch their advantage before handing over to their teammates. Shaker Briegel will start 3rd. He's sharing with Ethan Brown. And Charles Leong, already champion. He shares with Alex Denning. He's starting on the pit wall side in 4th position. 7 wins, that combination already, out of the 11 races so far. Going down to row number 3, and it's the challengers. It's Jungwoo Lee and Nick Stati, the 17-year-old Australian. Let's see how they can fare. And then Gavin Huang didn't get to start yesterday. His teammate pulled up with the gear linkage problem. That was Jonathan Chicotto, alongside one of the staples, the champion, Emilien Card, French racer for DW Evans GT. And Changwoo Lee, who is one of the 2 drivers really looking out for honours in the Pro-Am class, and the one who's leading that class is alongside Kikuan Kao. Then we go to Dong Hui Lee and Jingwei Lu forming row number 6. Moving on down, it's the 2 H-Zyrolos, and I think it's Haziq starting today. Brother Khairi will take over. And then the driver who clinched the AM Championship yesterday, Sutilak Bunchura, and we saw him on the grid with the symbol of success. Jonathan Twang, BC Racing, and the driver from Indonesia, Dipo Fitra Madhan. And then Super Chai Wiraborn Wanpong, he's already put the Lamborghini Cup class, the LC Club title, in his pocket. Alongside him was Damian Hamilton. And then Singho Kim and Dr. Chi Min Ma. In the final row, Kumar Prabhakaran bringing up the rear. 21 cars in all. He's in the Batmobile racing entry. So 1 further formation lap. It's a very wise tactic. When it's very cold, give them another lap. It doesn't hurt anyone. More to the point, it helps everyone get the heat into their tyres. So what are the drivers thinking now? Just feeling the performance of their car beneath them, I guess.
Really, the absolute key focus on these 2 laps is just generating heat. Start thinking about the start and your strategy once you're getting into the last sector. For now, it's heavy braking, heavy accelerating, and just weaving, but not just gentle turning the steering. You've really got to weave and really lean on the tyre. It's absolutely crucial. You're really putting load through the tyre, left and right, forward and back. Using the brake pedal, you get some heat in the brake disc and pads. That will then heat from the inside out, as well as heating the actual rubber surface by weaving on the track.
So much to think of for these drivers. You can see the hotels on the Adriatic coast in the background. The right-hand flank of Italy, absolutely straight as a die. Beach resorts the whole way up. Right now, nobody's thinking about that. When they race here in the summer, it's normally 40 degrees Celsius. It's very tough, and track temperatures of 60+ degrees. Today, track temperature, double check, 15 degrees. It's a different game. Air temperature falling all the time, 12.8 degrees. But for these drivers, it's all about an extra degree or 2 in their tyre temperature, and it will have all the difference. As I said, the first 3 corners very tight indeed, easy to outdo yourself, but it's a 90-degree right, which isn't easy at the start of any circuit. This is the view from turn 10, the hairpin that leads them onto a straight with 3 kinks in it. Turn 11, 12 and 13 are very fast kinks. You see a lot of drivers running over the painted lines outside the circuit at 13, and then heavily on the brakes to the hairpin, turn 14, a kink to the left at 15, and then the final corner, 90 degrees onto the start-finish straight. 2 words, the drivers don't want them next to their names, but they are track followed by limits. There have been penalties, there will be penalties, but the big question in the class that is still to be sorted, Pro-Am, will either of the challenging cars have their race ruined by track limits? They have got to be so careful. So here's the field getting into 2x2 formation. This is turn 14. It's 16 turns in all, 4.226 kilometres. Just waiting for the last few cars to get into that straight line as they go out at 14 towards 15. And the black car at the back, that's the Batmobile Racing entry, Kuma Prabhakaran. And the mighty Urus leading the round at the front. Suddenly that will jink into the pit entry. That's just before the final corner. At this point, it's really unusual not to be able to see the starting gantry. You're pretty close to it, but you still can't see it. Into turn 16 they do. Nearer the camera on the right-hand side of the track. Chris van der Drift, fellow Kiwi, Brendan Leach alongside. They can't go yet. They've got to get as tight as they can to each other. We've seen a lot of people backing it off, forcing the driver behind to back off and then not accelerate and then lose ground. But it's a long hold. Wait for it, wait for it. 21 cars on the start of the straight. There it goes. Red turns to green, and this is the final race of 2025 in the Asian Series, and it's the white car on the outside that sweet. Oh, Brendan Leach goes round. There's a challenge from, looks like it was Charles Leong trying to go up one of the cars from midfield. 2, 3, 4 of the cars have gone too deep, and a spinner down at turn 1. Oh, well, that was well, there's a car that may not have working in steering, rejoining the track at turn 2, not making it work at all. So a little bit of sorting out down there. Oh dear, car 203, that's that should be Kikwan Kao, and I tell you what, that is the championship leader in Pro-Am. So disaster early on. Got to see come the end of the lap where the challenger, which is car 118, will be. And if that's in a good class position, sorry, 218, then that will be, 286 was the car that clearly has got something broke on it. That's the Delta Garage crew, that's Deepo Fitra Madan. And one suggests someone probably came hard into one of his front wheels and snapped the steering there.
Yeah, or potentially on some of the runoff areas there's speed bumps, so he could have hit that really hard or contact, and it seems like, yeah, something in the steering's broken.
Oh dear, another one sideways in the track, and that was car 266, which is Climax Racing, or Hudson Auto by LKM, actually. That's Jive Liu, who's suffered out there, and he's running in the Pro-Am class, so a lot of tumblers there. Safety car, well, not too surprising there, because it's not just the number of cars that have gone off, it's where they have ended up. But a nice, tidy-ish start at the front of the field, but everyone behind that really, really got bunched up.
I did actually speak to Matteo Milani, the safety car driver, at lunch, and he was saying he was due a run out, so clearly jinxed it.
Yeah, and just to point out, actually, I tell you what, it was Ethan Brown who went into third place, from third place on the grid. In fact, he shouldn't be, because he shouldn't have been starting that car. It should be Jacob Riegel, so I think that's a graphics problem. But bear in mind, the cars running third and fourth are both red and white livery, but the darker one is the one of the championship winner, Charles Leong, still in fourth place. So the safety car, there's the view back. He's got Brendan Leach in behind him, who got the better of Chris van der Drift. I almost sense that Chris was given a bit of a push into the first corner, and around the outside went Brendan Leach. You want to brake as late as you can into that corner, but not much you can do if someone else on the inside has not got their braking done. This is the view going up to that first corner. Doesn't look so bad when you're doing it line astern, but when you're 2-3 abreast into here, then things become rather difficult.
It just looked a little bit like Chris van der Drift had. I think Jacob Riegel was just looking up the inside, and maybe he was looking in his right mirror, and he was busy dealing with that. While he was dealing with that, Brendan Leach, with a guy of his level of experience, just sent it.
Well, here's the view. Brendan Leach in the darker car going around the top. What happens? It's about 6th or 7th place. With the car spinning, inevitably it leads to others getting it wrong. Look for the car outside the writing, moving across the screen above the bit that says Rimini, onto the track, and off the track into the gravel. That's Deepo Fitra Madan, the Indonesian racer. So over and out for him. It looked innocuous, really, down at the first corner. Now riding deep in the pack into the midfield, and a few tails being pushed a little bit round, and that's the point at which you have to sort of bail out. That was car 266, was the Jive Liu car, the Macanese racer. Gosh, you can see the low sun here in this autumn afternoon, and that near miss as Fitra Madan went across the track, crossed the nose of a couple of rivals. Nothing he could do it in that blue and white car. Threading the eye of the needle. So while the safety car goes around, everybody else being cleaned up, all the fallers. But of course, still the clock goes around. There's no dignity in when you've been removed from a race. You've got to get moved to a place of safety. And Jive Liu being taken away. So the safety car leading the field around. The order is Brendan Leach, Chris van der Drift, Jacob Riegel and Charles Leong, as they were on the grid, with the exception of the top two having swapped positions. Gavin Huang is in 6th, and the car between him and the top 4 is car number 7, And it is Jungwoo Lee, Korean racer. But for some of the others, well, this is, you don't often get an elevated view. This is the 266 that's being lifted clear of the trouble. And now the lights are off on the top of the safety car. That's been very tidy work getting the cars recovered. You might think, where are the rest of the cars? What's Brendan Leach doing? He's backing them up. Of course, this format with a very tight final corner, he can go into the corner and start accelerating, but no one behind can move until he does. But actually, Chris van der Drift has made a really good restart. Often in second, you lose a bit of ground. The battle for third is tight because Charles Leong looking down the inside, locking up, snaking. Is there going to be contact? No, not quite. But Jacob Riegel had to brake deep into turn one. I thought we were going to see the equivalent to two balls on a snooker table colliding, but, you know, well done to the pair of them for not coming to blows. But actually, over the curbing, Jacob Riegel went a little bit wide, and Charles Leong, well, you don't need two invitations. But Riegel's still keeping his foot, trying to go up the inside into turn 5. That will end up in tears, surely. And just by the skin of his teeth, up into third place goes Charles Leong. Good move. But look, as they fight, the first two, the Kiwis already getting away. Up front, it's Brendan Leach, it's Chris van der Drift, then about 2 or 3 seconds. The next 4 cars, 1, 2, 3, 4, nose to tail. That's down to 6th place.
Fantastic bit of racing there, side by side, door to door through 3 or 4 corners. That is the sort of respectful racing we see in Super Trofeo.
Yeah, tucked in behind Jungwoo Lee from Korea, making it very busy, and in behind him Gavin Huang. That was the 211 entry from BC Racing that didn't get to start yesterday. First 2 cars are making their break. We'll touch on class position shortly. In fact, the first 2 cars we can touch on then, they are Pro-Am class entries. So the top all-pro crew is the Pro Champion for the year. There he is, the darker red and white car, and that's Charles Leong. Jacob Riegel tucking in behind, but already Leong is just starting to edge clear in that battle for third place. And don't forget, of course, Jack, we had that little lap behind the safety car. What happens then? Tyre temperatures drop.
Exactly, that really won't help. But again, you see the Kiwi guys, they're probably a bit more used to driving in wet and cold conditions, straight on the money.
Now, we're riding on board with the car in 7th place, therefore he must have lost a position in the sorting scramble. Remember, it was around 6th or 7th place we had the spinner. This is the young Australian, Nick Stati. He won both of the European Series races here at Misano, sharing with the driver who's leading the race, Brendan Leach. But today, different cars, and also young Australian, the Lamborghini Busan entry. There it is, number 277. He's doing this one solo, so his pit stop will be 3 seconds longer. We'll touch on that later.
What's good to see here is Nick Stati was part of the winning car in Europe. I think sometimes people associate racing ability, Europe being better than everywhere else in the world. Seeing him running in 7th shows you how strong the Asian field is compared to the against the European field. So you can't just go into the World Finals thinking all the European guys are going to win it.
No, absolutely not. The European field is the largest of the 3 Super Trofeo series. However, it's always good, and you never know year on year which championship is relatively strong versus the others. Of course, you find out when they get knitted together tomorrow and Sunday in the World Finals, but it's a real point of interest. And don't forget, of course, Nicholas Stati in this car doesn't have a teammate in the Asian series, so he doesn't have anyone to pass on the knowledge. In the European series, he won both of those races here. He's got Brendan Leach, who's the exemplar Super Trofeo racer. Right, looking down through the classes, it's the Lees who are top of the field in that car, 276 in the AM class, and it's Dong Sheng who started, sorry, not Dong Hui. And he hasn't got a great deal over Hazik Zairalo. And in the LC class, it's the driver with the longest name, Super Chai Wirabor Wanpong, Thai racer, who just absolutely loves his Lamborghinis. But up front, it's as close as you like. It's half a second. That's visually what half a second looks like. The gap between Kiwi 1 and Kiwi 2, Brendan Leach and Chris van der Drift. They've done a lot of their racing all around Asia. Staunchly proud Kiwi drivers, but you know, when you're a Kiwi driver, you want to be a professional racing driver, you've got to pack your suitcase and go out, and they've been doing that ever since the days, the late 50s. Bruce McLaren coming across, he did rather well, didn't he? What a dynasty he started.
Yeah, just a small legacy left behind, but you know, we take for granted being from Europe that you can just jump on a plane and within 2 hours you're anywhere around, you know, anywhere at a racetrack, whereas the guys from New Zealand, Australia generally have to go halfway around the world to get, you know, really competitive international racing.
Yeah, and in fact, even just focusing on the racing career of Nicola Stati, who's in this race. He comes from Western Australia. It's closer for him to go to Southeast Asia than it is for him to race where most of the tracks are on the eastern seaboard of Australia. We saw that with Daniel Ricciardo. He did exactly the same racing in Formula BMW single-seaters. He went to the Asian Championship rather than Australian, and the rest, as they say, is history. Brilliant aerial shot. You can see the low sun over the circuit here at Misano. We've got, well, we've done the first 12 minutes this race. We've already had that safety car period, but the real point here is the first two are pulling about 3, 4, nearly 5 seconds clear over Charles Leong, who is the best of the rest. And Leong is just starting to edge clear of Jacob Riegel. He's got a second of a buffer. Leong already the champion, but he does know, of course, the first two cars are Pro-Am entry. Brendan Leach will be handing over to Song Jia-jung, and Chris van der Drift will be handing over to Todd Kingsford. They've had a good little run together in recent races, Chris and Todd, but certainly the pace of the second drivers in the likes of 232 and 227, the cars third and fourth, they're very, very strong indeed. So as long as they can stop them escaping too far up the road, and track position is everything, as you say, you can be sure the pros, Brendan Leach and Chris van der Drift, will start as long as they can and come in before the pit window closes. And by the way, in the previous race, two cars, by dint of about 5 seconds, became a bit greedy. They kept their pro driver in as long as they could, and they were only going around turn 14 when clang, that was the pit window shutting. And therefore, you have blown everything for the possible gain of a second before handing over to your teammate. Anyhow, so many things for the teams to think of, but anyhow, just by watching that race, teams go, you know what, I think we might just come in a few seconds earlier, the lap before.
Yeah, it's like we said earlier, you've got to be precise with your pit stop and your whole pit strategy, but it's not worth taking massive, massive risks for the sake of a second or two.
No, it really isn't. Now, talking of risks, Charles Leong, champion already, has had his second warning for track limit excess. Another driver who's got one is the driver 2 positions behind driver of 207, that's Jungwoo Lee. So they will start accruing more of these. You get to a point where you get a warning. After the warning, the next one comes the 5-second time penalty. And a field like this, where it's super competitive, that is like closing the door on your race. Right, here is Charles Leong. 2 warnings so far, 3rd overall. Let's look at the standings. Already, they can't be toppled. That's Alex Denning, who we heard from before the race. Charles Leong, champions, 7 wins their name out of the 11 races so far. This is the 12th and final race. Zikong Lee, at the moment, heading for second in the championship. But Ethan Brown, if he can pick up a position, his teammate Jacob Riegel is running second in class at the moment, could yet change that around. But done and dusted as far as Denning and Leong are concerned.
Yeah, they're just racing today for that extra bit of knowledge they can gain for the World Finals, as they've kind of said all weekend, but also for pride. You know, you want to finish the season strong. They've had 7 wins, I believe, so, you know, why not add another one to finish the season on the absolute, you know, peak?
Yeah, no, entirely so. Now, this is the battle. It's Leipert Motorsport, Brendan Leach leading the race. It's VSR, and that's Vincenzo Sospiri Racing. And they just took, in the European Series, their first pro title after 10 years of trying. And considering the success that VSR has had around the world, that was fantastic. And also, it was great to have a Malaysian driver winning the European Series in the shape of Adam Putera, his first season in Europe. And that's a massive accolade to come across, take on drivers on circuits you don't know in a car that they do.
Yeah, certainly a fantastic season for him. Unfortunate for his teammate to not join him on the top step. I believe he missed a round, so he only finished 2nd or 3rd overall. But nonetheless, great year for them in Europe, and I'm sure they're also looking forward to the World Finals.
Yeah, and it was very gracious, actually, of Adam Putera to say, you know, actually, you know, he didn't score as many points as me because he missed around, but I consider it a championship won by the pair of us, which is entirely fair. Now, this is a recovery drive. We're looking at car 203. It's moved up into 4th place in Pro-Am. This is the championship leader, and at the moment, still heading for that title, because there aren't that many cars in the class up ahead of it on the track, but only by 1 position in the class rankings is Changwoo Lee, and that won't be enough as it stands. So this has been a good recovery. Remember, a spin on the opening lap dropped him to nowhere, but certainly doing what he has to do, being calm. That is the absolute essence for Kikwan Kao. Right. This is HZO Fortis Racing, run by Absolute, and the 2 Zyralo brothers really enjoying their racing, going better and better. They're running in the AM class and running 2nd in class at the moment, but some distance behind Dongsheng Li. Just taking a look at track temperatures, they're dropping, if anything, 14.5 degrees now. Right in the AM class, the battle was already won by Sutiluk Buncharoen, and he's running third in class, doesn't have to press on too much, he's got it under control. The Zyrolos are 32 points down, 16 points down, and there are only 15 points to play for. Even if he comes away with nothing, Sutiluk Buncharoen is just in position to take the championship.
Yeah, it's a nice position to be in when you come towards the end of a championship. If you've already got the job done, you know, before the last couple of races or last race, it means you can just go out there and have fun, and you know, there's no stress or pressure. Yeah,
and if suddenly you, well, as we saw with Jonathan Chikotto's car yesterday, something goes awry mechanically or you slide off, that's all right, it's okay. Neat and tidy, and I know what's happened. Here's Superchai Wiraborwanpong. He already had the LC Cup class. He's in that bright orange car with the Singar livery and that Thai brewery, and tucked in behind him, he's got the recovering Singho Kim. A lot of those cars at the back of the field got a little bit scattered in the first couple of corners with those spinners in front of them, but settling down, as is that lead battle. First two cars lapping in the very high 1:34 category. Best of the rest, well, the car third, Charles Leon, 1:36.1, so 1 and a bit seconds a lap they've been pulling out on him. But you know what? Charles Leon and Alex Denning, across their season, they've become very, very good at keeping the tyres sweet in the second stint of the race, because as you pointed out, Jack, when you're racing in the Asian Series, where the temperatures can be sky high and then a few more, to get it wrong and leave your teammate who's taking the second part of the race with some things that are round and black but no longer grippy, well, that's not very good, is it? You learn.
Yeah, you can, if you hand your teammate, you know, a really worn set of tyres in the hot and humid conditions, they can start losing, you know, even seconds a lap sometimes. So it's the tyre management over in Asia is really, really key. But like we say, here in Misano in November, you can pretty much push flat out the whole way, because there's just, you start backing off, you lose tyre temperature.
Yeah, well, exactly so. And this is a masterclass at the front of the field. Bit of traffic up ahead of our race leader, Brendan Leach, tucked in behind Chris van der Drift. 0.3 of a second between them on the start-finish line. Next to nothing. And their last few laps have been within 1/10 of a second of each other the entire time. Just trying to work out who's up in front of them. And it's car 283 is the one they've got to get past. That's Dr. Chi Min Ma. Hopefully he's seen them, but they're about to catch him down towards turn 14. And sometimes in a really tight corner, it's very hard to move your car out of the way. So if Brendan Leach realises he's going to lose a bit of momentum, he's got to block off any potential challenge. They got past him before turn 14. That was vital. So possibly the doctor backed off just down the back straight. Saw them coming in. The marshals would have been waving their blue flags. Holding it out, passes the message, waving the flag, increases the emphasis, and I don't think any great difference between them, the first two, between Brendan Leach, Chris van der Drift. Well, 1/10 of a second gained by our race leader, but all along this duo, they're trying to build as much of a buffer as they can over Charles Leon. They're 8.5 seconds clear of him, and then it'll be up to their teammates to see what they can do. The teammates will not be as fast as their two Pro-Am driver lineups, but Charles Leon, if he wants to get an 8th win out of the 12th race, is already the champion with Alex Denning. He's got to get a bit more speed out of his car. Alternatively, he's just trying to keep it on an even keel to hand it over to Alex and see what Alex can do through to the end of the race. But it's always quite difficult when you've got a couple of drivers herring away, but you've got to run your own race. And if you absolutely take it out of your tyres, just trying to keep up them, well, that's not the best thing to be done. Right, pit window is open, which is handy. So Changmu Li climbing out, and this is the driver change, one of the very first ones, and he'll be handing over to Zhikong Li, who actually raced in British Formula 3 a very long time ago, but he's had a very international racing career, and he is, like many drivers from his age, started in single-seaters, moved across to cars with roofs, but these days, as we're seeing, a lot of drivers hopping straight into Super Trofeo cars, Carrera Cup cars, and with an aim to getting into GT3. And GT3, of course, is now the subclass within the World Endurance Championship. And if you can get yourself a work drive, well, you can afford to buy your family ice creams at Christmas.
Certainly. The problem is nowadays the single-seater ladder is just so expensive, and it's not even a lot of people can probably raise the money for Formula 4, but the jump to Formula 3 is just so vast that at sort of 17, 18, you have to be mature and say, you know what, maybe Formula 1 isn't the goal, it's not achievable. I haven't got loads of money from my family, I haven't got a huge sponsor. Let's step into endurance GT racing and try and chase a realistic goal of getting a factory drive, or like Brendan Leach and Chris van der Drift, picking up Pro-Am drives, because that's another way you can make a living.
It is. So many things you can do, but almost every step you go up the single-seater ladder, you pretty much add another naught to the end of the price list. It's absolutely extraordinary, but a lot of super talent. It's not only finding a way for them to keep on racing, it's also raising the whole standard in series like this and all the other series in the GT ladder. There are many. You do it according to your budget, according to your geographical desire. But talk about desire, well, a little bit too much desire, I would suggest, there for Chris van der Drift, and that looked like a crystal cut case. He caught the back of race leader Brendan Leach. Actually, the person this is good news for is Charles Leong. Obviously, the person it's very bad news for is the driver of the blue and gold Lippert car. He's going to be handing over to Song Jia-jung, but not from the lead. Was there any damage there? Probably not. Low-speed contact, but round it went. The laws of physics, you know that lesson you used to do when you looked out the window? Well, that's the car being spun around. Immovable object, not quite as immovable as you thought.
Yeah, you could kind of see for a couple of laps Chris van der Drift was looking quite like he was catching, looking quite fast, a little bit dangerous. A couple of laps before, you could see he was taking a tighter line into into that turn 10, a little bit tighter through turn 9, but it just looked like Brendan was prepared to go a bit tighter. Chris obviously didn't anticipate him staying tighter, went to kind of just throw it up the inside, but Brendan had kept it a bit tight that lap. Just a little bit of contact on the brakes, but as you're braking with a little bit of steering lock round to the right, it doesn't take much to unsettle the car and send it into a spin.
No, once it's already started turning in, that's for sure. Right, I was just having a little look. Brendan Leach recovering, but he lost effectively 7 seconds or so in that, and that allowed Charles Leong to get to within just under 3.5 seconds in third place. But he's in a pro lineup, so when he comes to hand over to Alex Denning, that suddenly means they could be aiming at second place in the race. But the driver taking over from Chris van der Drift, that's Todd Kingsford. Well, he's sitting on suddenly a big buffer. Let's take a look at what happened. Talk us through this one.
So you can see already Chris was kind of on the brakes going through the kink, a little bit of a moment on the back, but starting to move a little bit on Chris van der Drift's car, as he was clearly going to chuck it up the inside, but Brendan had already kept it a little bit tighter, and I just think there's just a little bit of a misjudgment from Chris van der Drift on this occasion.
Yeah, well, we can put that in the in-tray in the steward's box and focus on Vincenzo Sospiri Racing leading the race for now. However, I think there may be some words to be had. Drive-through penalty, by the way, for car number 251. That's BC Racing, and it was Brian Huang at the wheel, so he'll be handing over. And a drive-through penalty, not for him, it's the next driver up. It's the Lamborghini Cup title winner, Superchai Wiraborwanpong. But I think a lot of this is coming back from investigations of incidents right at the start of the race. Now, minimum time from pit in to pit out for a pit stop, 105 seconds, 108 seconds if you're running solo. And let's hope we don't get too many people, A, missing the pit window, or B, getting a short pit stop. And in fact, one of the cars in the previous race, the European round, not only came in after the pit window closed and then undercut their own pit stop as well, so got a further time penalty for that. We will name no names. Right, 10-second time penalty just been issued to the driver of this car number 298, for contact at turn 10. That's Chris van der Drift. So suddenly, actually, we've just had a change for what's happened. Charles Leong has come into the pits, but suddenly, and so has Emilion Card. That means that when Charles Leong hands over to Alex Denning, with a 10-second penalty to be applied to this car, it'll be applied after the race. So the white and blue car from Vincenzo Sospiri Racing could get the checkered flag first, but in reality, it suddenly puts this year's champions, Charles Leong and Alex Denning for S3 and Theodore Racing, in for potentially win number 8 from 12, which will be a fantastic comeback for them this season. And, well, actually, the other car in that contact, Brendan Leach, has also been given a 10-second time penalty.
No, is it?
298. Oh, sorry, yeah. That's 289 is Brendan Leach. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Hold on to your horses. That was me letting mine out of the stable a little too soon.
No, but again, you can see these two guys, ultimate professionals. They've just got going. You know, it's so easy when an incident happens. For an AM driver especially, you can get very flustered. We saw that yesterday in the race. Someone got overtaken and they had a spin. As a pro, things happen. You've got to just get back on it, get focused, do your job.
Yeah, sorry, 298 and 289 with the two cars fighting for the lead. 298 in the lead, but it has not the sort of Damocles, it's got the punishment already issued. 10-second penalty for them. Nick Stati now running third on the track. He started sixth, fell down to seventh in the sort out at the first corner, but he might find himself in a pretty handy position. He's running solo, so his pit stop will be 3 seconds longer, but the pace he's beginning to show, you know, could get him up onto the podium, which would be really quite an achievement. Just noticing the bonnet sitting up a little bit on the right-hand side on the car sitting in the pit, Sang-Ho Kim's car. So that is probably down to contact in the first two corners. Hopefully the team will notice and tuck that one back down. Well, Chris van der Drift, absolutely no damage to his car by the look of its pace. Lapping consistently the high 1 minute 34s, really squeaking every ounce of performance. Even more reason to do so, because of course he knows he would have been told you've gone and added 10 seconds to our time, so he's trying his best to atone, and every 1/10 of a second that he can achieve before he brings it in. Talking bring it in, he's doing it right here and now.
Yeah, they've got to stop this lap. Minute and a half, it's a minute 34, minute 35 lap, so Chris van der Drift and Brendan Leach, any of the Pro-Am pairings that have tried to stay out long will be stopping this lap.
Yeah, Brendan Leach following him into the pit lane, coming in from 7 and a bit seconds in arrears. Very unlikely for anyone to gain any advantage during the pit stop, because if they do, they will probably undercut the 105-second minimum, and they'll get a penalty accordingly. But they just need to keep the pit stop clean and tidy, perhaps adjust the tyre temperatures. What's the track condition? It's dropped a few fractions of a degree. Right. Chris van der Drift out. It's perfectly polite to push the other driver's head down as they get in the car. Taller figure of Todd Kingsford getting on board, looking for the straps to be done up. Even on a day like this, a bit of a cool air coming into the cockpit just helps out a little bit. Blowing the leaves away or something. Nick Stati also came into the pits. They had to. Jungwoo Lee in and just waiting for the scramble back out. But I want to see where Alex Denning will be when this all shakes out. His car was running in third place with Charles Leon at the wheel. They're champions for 2025. Done a phenomenal job, but if they could round it out with another victory to make it 8 wins from 12, that would be phenomenal. Fleetingly, I gave it to them by saying that there was a penalty for the Brendan Leach car. There wasn't. That was me getting my numbers back to front. The car that got it was the 298. We've just seen it. It was the white car. Chris van der Drift, the assailant, down into turn 10, and he's picked up the punishment. It was by the smallest of touches, but the ramifications with the car in front spinning left it very difficult to have any other interpretation. What's that sound you heard? Bang, that's the pit window closing. Anybody coming in later than this will pick up a penalty. I'm just double checking. Is that sort of thinking that maybe that was a slow pit stop for 298, or have they been told to turn the extra 10 seconds in the pits? Maybe they have.
Maybe it was like a stop-go penalty, so maybe they had to sit for an extra 10 seconds before releasing the car, because it looks like he's actually now significantly behind the 289.
Oh, well, actually, you know what? I prefer it that way in many ways, because at least then you can see precisely where they are without having to imagine 10 seconds.
Definitely.
Right, 289, Jiajun Song, or Songju Zhang, is out, and it looks like he's just ahead of Nick Stati. Just double check if it says Lamborghini Busan on the nose of the blue car with the red flashes on it, tucked in behind.
It's one of the LB Cups from the same team.
Ah, okay. Yeah, a lot of the teams running quite a few cars. So, waiting for it to settle down. And let's go down and hear from Brendan Leach. Maybe he's a little bit dizzy after that spin down at turn 10.
Oh dear, Brendan, it's not really going very well for you. What happened there?
Oh yeah, like car was really good. Just having a good battle with Chris, and he seemed to have pretty strong traction for a Super Trofeo, and got a good run out of 8. And I was on my normal line, and he just clouded the back of me. It's nothing major. He just needs to do better. That's all.
Nothing major, but it's your race. It cost you.
Yeah, it cost us a little bit of time, but look, at least we can keep going. Unfortunately, they only got a 10-second penalty for it, and I nearly ended up in the gravel. So look, we're going. The target for us today is just to finish the race and try and get on the podium. The Lipa guys have done a great job with the car, and yeah, like I said, Chris should know better, but anyway, it doesn't matter. We carry on.
That was very, very political of you. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of people get track limit abuse as well. How hard is it to keep all 4 wheels on the actual track?
Yeah, it's really tricky, especially the corners that they monitor. You get on the throttle really early, so as soon as you do that and you have a little bit of understeer, it's very easy to just time it not quite right. And yeah, I myself have used all of my tokens in both races today, so it's all good. We're good to go. It resets for JJ, so he can push on now and have some fun.
There you have it, Brendan Leach. Good luck. He's good to go.
Thank you. That was very politically correct there from Brendan Leach. So not just quick in the car, quite tidy out of it as well. Now, a car we haven't really talked about very much is giving chase. Alex Denning leading the race. The black car with the red flashes is a car that got nowhere yesterday, pulled off on the first formation lap, and Jonathan Cecotto said, well, see how many places I can gain. He's giving chase, and he's on the lights. All the drivers like to get on the lights. And the car that was spun around is running in 3rd position. Song Jie-jung, there it is, blue and gold. But it looks so Alex Denning is going to have to be right on his toes. He'll have to be talking his top game, and he can talk a top game very well indeed. Will he hang on for win number 8, or will Jonathan Cecotto, just aggrieved by yesterday's tiny but really costly mechanical failure, just be going, you know what, I've had disappointment. I don't want to do disappointment 2 races running, but started down the order a little bit, but certainly working his way forward, and probably deserves a good result. Started down in 6th position. Sorry, let's call that 7th position if I count correctly.
Yeah, it should be quite an interesting final stint, as obviously we know Alex Denning's super quick and full of confidence. Obviously looking to round out the season with an 8th win, but Johnny spoke to him earlier, a little bit upset with what happened yesterday with the mechanical. Really, really, really fast guy. He's going to be wanting to finish the season strong. Gavin did a great first stint, just like Johnny asked, sensible, keep it, close to the guys in front so he could jump in and do the job, and we can clearly see he's up to P2 and looking like he has the opportunity to win.
Well, let's hear from another driver who knows what the track's like, because he just got off it. Charles Leong, this year's champion, his teammate Alex Denning now leading the race.
Right, Charles, a little bit of misfortune for Brendan and Chris there has gained you into the lead. So, I mean, it's good fortune for you. Fresh off the track, what's it like?
So the start was so on my side. I was expecting less grip, so I went for a safer option with the gears. And it's first time we do 50 kph here, but overall the race with the safety car restart, everything was good. And everyone else around us is on new, with us being unused. So I think pace-wise and the race management-wise, at the moment we are quite great.
Now the temperature's starting to drop. It's starting to get a little bit colder. The sun's gone now, so we've only got not very long left of the race. Do you think you're going to be able to hang on to those tires? Do you think Alex is going to be able to bring it home in P1 for you again?
I believe in Alex a lot, and he's a very decent driver, and as his pace when the car is running properly, as long as you're not 1 second off, it's quite hard to pull a move. So as long as he keeps the car on the track, I think he can make it.
Exactly. Good luck. Thank you very much. That's Charles.
We've got a magic button in the commentary box. As soon as you have an interview, something happens to the car that the driver you're talking to. And we've just had a change of the lead. Alex Denning got absolutely out-muscled by Jonathan Cecotto, 2:11 into the lead of the race. And Jonathan didn't get started yesterday's race for BC Racing, but he's pulled in front. And I'm sure both drivers have. It'd be interesting to hear from them after the race. That was quite a mighty manoeuvre. I don't think this one is over and out as yet. We've got 14 minutes left in the race. But actually, as I say that, Cecotto already starting to stretch clear of Alex Denning. However, we're getting to the later stage of the race. What's the tyre situation going to be? Maybe Gavin Huang did a very good job in the first half of the race before handing over to the Venezuelan. The German-born Venezuelan, son of the great Johnny Cecotto, world champion 250 and 350cc in motorbikes, came across, got to Formula 1. And if it hadn't been for leg injuries in a big crash at Brands Hatch, I think he was really starting to get stronger and stronger. Still went on to have a fabulous career in touring cars, mainly with BMW. Right, here's on the pit wall there was the boss man of SJM Theodore Racing, along with Teddy Jr. It's David Kennedy, another man with Formula One in his veins.
Yeah, just noticed there in Charles Leong's interview, he said they were running used tyres, so they must have chosen to use both their new sets in qualifying, maybe due to yesterday's DNF as well. And I don't know what strategy Johnny and the Gamma Racing team have used. They may have started on new tyres today, so although as the tyres starts to degrade, the gap becomes closer and closer, just having that few kilometres fresher tyres, even at this point in the race, could be just giving Johnny that extra bit of grip to, you know, do what he's done, make the pass and start to pull away.
Yeah, I mean, you don't choose to have retirement for one race, but it certainly leaves some fresh rubber at the backside of your garage. But looking at the points there, nobody can topple Alex Denning and Charles Leong. They would like to end the year with another win, but what they'd really, really like is to end the year with success in the World Finals. Let's go down to join Dakota again, moving like a panther in the pit lane.
I am indeed. I've caught up with Gavin. Gavin, you're looking pretty cool, calm and collected. Now your teammate Jonathan has just taken the lead from Alex Denning, which was a great move. What do you think is going to happen next? Are you going to be able to keep the lead? It looks like he's pulling away.
Yesterday we did not even start the race because of a broken axle, but now we looks good. We're on the top, so we'll finish the race in the top.
Whoa, there's some confidence there. That's Gavin. We'll let you get back to the pits.
Well, you never know. Actually, there's just been an incident involving cars 211, Jonathan Cecotto, and Alex Denning 232 noted. So that's being looked at. I'd like to see a replay. I was looking from one screen to the other when it was happening. And so yet, Nick Stati in third place could suddenly come through to the top of the race. He's 5 and a bit seconds down on them. So we'll keep a watching brief on that one, but the clock's counting down.
Yeah,
and
turn 16, that means it was probably quite an aggressive move, because it's not normally, unless someone's made a mistake in turn 15, not the sort of corner you pass on. So I'll be interested to see a replay of that and see how Johnny managed to actually get up the inside. Or outside, we don't know. Yeah, so hopefully they'll be sorting that out. Right, looking at what's happening in the AM class, it's 276 leading the way. It's been having a very, very good race, and that's Climax Racing. It's Donghui Lee in the second half of this race. In the AM class, it was settled by the smallest of margins. Sutiluk Buncharen is still the points leader, but he's running actually third in class this afternoon in the AM class. Doesn't matter to him, he's got the title in the bag. Okay, just double checking the screen of pain, which is time penalties and track limits abuse. It stayed still for a moment, but just bear in mind the first two cars, 211 and 232. That's Jonathan Cecotto, as we can see on that little screen there, and Alex Denning under investigation for an incident, presumably the one where the lead changed hand from the Irishman to the Venezuelan. All right, here's Superchai Wiraborwampong. He's running second in the LC class, the Lamborghini Cup class. He's half a minute down on Eng Peng Go, but he already had the title under control and is here for fun. And, you know, as the light becomes dimmer and dimmer, I quite like a bright day-glow orange car. It really helps the eyes as it works its way around the circuit. Don't forget, this race did actually start in 5 minutes of sunshine, and then it went away again. It's been a grey day. It's a cool day, and it's the way the drivers have been nursing their tyres that really will count. I believe Superchai did serve a drive-through penalty earlier in the race.
Oh, yes, I do believe you're right. That's why he's coming not in his traditional position of leading the class. It feels as though winter's approaching. It very much feels autumnal. The middle part of this week, when the teams were testing here, it was absolutely lovely. The air temperature between 15 and 17 degrees, sunshine, but just a few degrees different. The lack of sun makes a real difference. They're not staring at a fire hose, they're staring at a small laptop in the paddock there, just to see what is going on. Jonathan Cecotto leading the race by 2.3 seconds and getting in among the traffic. He's either the second or the third of the cars in that group. Then there's another car. The car's second overall is 232. He needs to hunt down those back markers as well. First one gets out of the way very nicely, but as he does, another car is passed by the race leader. Lights ablaze. That's Jonathan Cecotto going past one of his teammates, who tries to keep out of the way, but really has nowhere else to go. So unfortunately for Alex Denning, he can have no complaints. He can if it doesn't get out of its way before turn 16.
big moment for Alex Denning as he exited turn 30 and he tried to stay tight to anticipate passing the back marker. Obviously, you know, fantastic driver hung on to it. He's trying to use coming through this traffic as a chance to catch up, as he has done. He's actually halved the gap to Johnny Giacotto. You know, when you catch back markers, you just hope you catch them in the right place and you can use it to your advantage. Whether that's to put a gap between you and the car you're racing or catch up a car, you just got to be a bit lucky and, you know, kind of look a couple of corners ahead and make sure you go either left or right, depending on which corner and where on the track you actually catch the back marker.
And it could be going oh so right until suddenly it isn't. Someone else just changes their line. Super close. It's even Stevens. Two crews, the 263 crew and the 203 crew, equal on points in the Pro-Am title. That was the only one still up for grabs in this, the 12th race. At the moment, just going to see how they could possibly swap around. 203, which is the challenger. They came in with the points lead. They're running 4th in class, but the car that's leading the class with Liang Jiatong is heading for the 15 points, but it's only 3 seconds clear of the Kingsford car. Remember, Kingsford's car led the race outright in the hands of Chris van der Drift, but served an extra 10 seconds in the pit stop. And Kingsford pace is actually no quicker than Liang's. Last lap, lost an entire second. So actually, it seems though 263 can sit there, and then we'll have to get on the phone and find out how it's going in terms of the overall scores.
Yeah, certainly fantastic for the track, for a championship to go right to the wire like this and even finish on the same points. You know, then it comes back to who's had the most wins or who's had the most pole positions or fastest laps, which can be a little bit frustrating, but I think, you know, it just shows you how crucial it is to score every single point on offer.
Yeah, entirely. And what happens, it gets split as you go further down. It goes to number of wins. Okay, if they're equal, then the number of second places, and so you go. And some championships over the years across the globe have been sorted by the tiniest of moments. One little slide wide, and you lost a 3rd place, it became a 4th, and that could be the difference between taking the title or not. All Jonathan Giacotto could do, still with that incident where he took the lead ahead of Alex Denning, is stretch his advantage. But as you pointed out, it went to 2 and a bit seconds, it's back down to 1.6 seconds. It ebbing and flowing. He got the better of traffic down through turns 13 and 14 a lap ago, and now he's actually got fairly clear run in front of him. He's approaching turn 9. The next car he's going to catch, he won't catch for someone, may not catch for the end of the race. His car number 205, which is a Zyra Lowe Brothers HZO Fortis entry in the AM class. So actually maybe traffic has affected all that it can in the remainder of this race. But yes, it feels, bear in mind, TV cameras always make the lights look greater than it is, so people on the pit wall, there's nothing they can do. They can breathe if they want, they can chew their nails, but it's in the hands of their teammates right now.
Yeah, it can always be quite a stressful place to be after you've done your stint, and you're, you know, obviously you have trust and faith in your teammate, but, you know, you've got no control over what happens. You're just a nervous wreck, hoping they make the right decisions, and, you know, if they're leading, hang on to it, and if you're trying to move forward, please move forward. Yeah,
really tricky, and 203 up to 3rd place in class. Will that be enough? It will at the moment, and the driver looking onto the pit wall is Kikwan Kao. 2 points clear, along with his teammate who's finishing the race. That's Kai Shun Lu and Kikwan. He doesn't know what to do. Well, what can you do? You just got to keep the prayers coming. But double checking any penalties coming. Still the track limit violations are coming. No one's been pinged with a penalty in the last few laps, but it could happen. And in fact, 203, the car we're just talking about, this car picked one up in the last couple of minutes, and that's its only its second sort of offence there. They may be all right. They can pick up 1 more, 2 more, and get that final warning. They don't want 3 more.
No, certainly not at this late stage of the championship. It'd seem a shame to drop a load of points or positions for a track limit infringement.
You know, one thing that also bear in mind, we had the spin for 289 when it was driven by Brendan Leach. If it hadn't been for that, that car would probably lose car. The car we're looking at now would be 4th in class, and that would make them equal on points, but not in the driving seat. But by dint of that element that was miles up the track ahead of them, in the battle for the leading race, it was leading the race. That has suddenly spun the order further back down. So many elements that have to be knitted in to this. One thing they can't do is extend the length of the race. However, into the final 4 minutes, nobody around Kai Shun Lu in 203, heading for 3rd place in the Pro-Am class. This is one of the 4 class battles, but it's the only one that still has a title to be settled. So it's going to be tense for the LK Motorsport crew, run by Climax Racing, but they're doing a great job. Up the front of the race, well, Jonathan Cecotto suggested, and everyone suggested he might do a great job. He got into the lead of the race, still under investigation, bear in mind.
Yeah, we haven't seen a replay of that yet. I'm definitely interested to see how that move unfolded.
Yeah, all Jonathan could do is keep pulling away as much as he can. 1.8 seconds clear at the start of this lap. They have caught the car that was just sitting ahead of them on the track, car number 205, the Zyra Luz. And Harry is the driver at the wheel at the moment, 205. Great looking car, actually, as the light becomes dimmer. Those bright pink day-glow stripes on the nose and the flanks shine out all the more. That was deposed before the kink at turn 11, turn 9, I beg your pardon. Now the hairpin at turn 10. Nothing Alex Denning can do about 205 just yet. He want to pick it off down the back straight. The straight with the 3 kinks before you get to the hairpin at turn 14. One flash of the lights. I'm here. Probably another flash say, I'm still here. Have you seen me? Not Morse code, but an effective equivalent. And 2 more laps to go, I think, is the message. And flashing through at turn number 12, between 12 and 13 goes Alex Denning. Well, it was 1.8 seconds between them start of the lap. It might have gone slightly longer than that now. Up to 16 they go. 2 minutes left on the clock. So there'll be this lap and 1 further lap. 2 laps to go until the completion of the 2025 Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia. LC champion right at the start. Car number 207, track limit abuse. And that has been coming for a while. 207, it's Lamborghini Bundang, and it's Zikong Lee at the wheel at the moment. Jungwoo Lee started that, but Peter Zikong Lee is the driver getting the penalty. And suddenly Alex Denning worked the traffic better. He's right now onto the tail. It was 1.8 seconds at the start of the lap, down to 1.5. Now I'd suggest it's within a second. First to second, Jonathan Cecotto still hanging on. The light is dropping all the time. Now, what's the respective state of the tyres? Jonathan Cecotto has raced these cars for a very long time. For Alex Denning, his first season in Super Trofeo. And maybe the fact it's not hot means that the stage has been slightly more evened up. Because if Jonathan Cecotto, the number of races he's done, he should be used to these in all temperatures. But for Alex Denning, well, you know, really making the most of it right now.
Yeah, certainly. It seems like they're a bit more evenly matched in the second half of this last stint. Johnny was quite unlucky. He caught the traffic at the wrong point, sort of in the middle of turn 1 and 2. Alex seemed to catch it a little bit better. He's definitely capitalised on that.
Well, good news for Kikuan Cao and Kai-Shun Liu. Kai-Shun is 3rd in class at the moment in Pro-Am, heading for the title. In 3rd place, has just been gifted a position because there's been a time penalty. It's only a 5-second time penalty. Actually, hasn't yet been gifted that position because Todd Kingsford, 2nd in class, has got a 5-second penalty. He's 7 seconds clear of Liu. So Liu's got to keep pressing on. But these things, they just keep on coming. Have we just had 2 penalties for Kingsford? Yes, we have. No, we haven't. Just the one. Sorry, I beg his pardon.
And then a penalty.
But final lap, and in almost every race we've witnessed this week, and it's Thursday, Friday racing, until we get to the World Final Saturday, Sunday, many a driver's getting pinged on the final lap. Just one more time going over the white lines at the edge of the circuit. Jonathan Cecotto leading the race by ½ a second. It's next to nothing. Closing in. Alex Denning has moved ahead. He's 0.1 of a second ahead.
Oh.
Waiting to see how that happened. There's Suchiluk Buncharoen, who's already got the AM title in the bag. And there it is. Track positions have swapped around. You sort of sensed in the last couple of laps, it seemed the tyre performance was definitely with Alex Denning, but Jonathan Cecotto, well, this is the point we saw the spin where Brendan Leach was taken out by Chris van der Drift late in that first stint of the race. And then the last couple of laps, remember the lead was 1.8 seconds, 1.5. Looked as though the traffic hadn't been the friend of Alex Denning. But then suddenly he seemed to just have a little bit more grip and suddenly closed right in, was ½ a second down and has now moved clear. So this could be win number 8. This is the final lap of 2025 Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia, and that was a big swing in position. It was a gain of 9/10 of a second on that lap, and I don't think that was traffic induced either. So Alex Denning, well, he's normally got a smile on his face will have even more, because what's that around the corner? It's a start-finish rate. What's at the end of that? Not even at the end. It's waved, and it's waved for him. Alex Denning, win number 8 with Charles Leong, already the outright champion, and you can hear the cheers on the pit wall. Nick Stati will be coming home in 3rd position. First 2 cars covered by ½ a second. What a great end to the season. And still, of course, a little bit of investigation among the stewards for that earlier contact, but half a second between them at the checkered flag. Nick Stati crossed the line 9 seconds down in third overall, raced it solo, and looking for car 263 that ought to come through to win the Pro-Am class, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Ethan Brown ended up 4th overall. He's had a very, very good debut season. Zikong Li in 5th, Nazim Asman in 6th, and car 203. He's not going to win his class, but he is going to take the Pro-Am title. That was the last one to be settled. 203, it's LK Motorsports by Climax Racing. It's Kaishan Liu who crosses the line, and his teammate Kikwan Kao. We saw him on the pit wall looking nervous, looking happy, looking nervous again, but the job was done. And 278, well, that's Sutiluk Boncharin, who is the winner. David Kennedy, there he is, arms over the shoulder of Teddy Yip, the junior. And they put this team together, and they do enjoy success. 8 out of 12, that is a fantastic record for the pair of them. And they've got one of their big weekends the whole season. Next weekend in Macau, where they'll be renting single-seaters and really, really getting stuck in. Declan Quigley enjoying the action down in the pit lane. Smiles all round, but you know what? So snatch it with a lap and a half to go. That's doing it in style. Cutting it fine, you might say, but very, very good indeed.
Yeah, to be honest, I think if either of those two had won the race, it would have been a worthy winner. But for Alex Denning to be passed, to actually be at one point, I think, up to nearly 3 seconds back, to then use the traffic to his advantage, to close the gap, and to then make the pass sort of 2 laps to go, you know, absolutely fantastic. What a way to see out the Asian season for them.
What's next? Just the World Finals, which are Saturday, tomorrow and the day after here. So they talked about trying to keep their focus, but really their aim this weekend was aiming for the World Finals. We'll see how they all knit together when we join the Asian series with the European and the North American Super Trofeo. It's always an absolute humdinger across a couple of days, but for now, the season's over. And Kikwan Kao, well, happy man indeed. Oof, he says, and quite rightly so. And anyhow, every single thing seemed... That was the only championship still up for grab. The others had all been sorted Pro, Am and Lamborghini Cup class. It was down to who would win this final race, but more to the point, who would win the Pro-Am class. And that honour with 3rd place today in their class. 9th place overall went to Kaishan Liu and Kikwan Kao. Kikwan kicked off the race, and Kaisan brought it through to the finish. So there we are. 21 cars went out to play. We lost 2 on the opening lap with a sort out, but apart from that, it was really very clean in the race. And Charles Leong has a mascot for the team, and his driver knows where to park. The board that says 1 on it, that's where we normally park, isn't it? Oh yes, 8 times out of 12. There's the cool, calm, collected, like a monk he is, Charles Leong. Cheering on, but Alex Denning out of the car, yes indeed. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Helmet off. Okay, helmet off. Wreck the car.
There's the instruction from David Kennedy. Wreck the car, why don't you?
Yeah, only got the World Finals to go.
Yeah. Get your helmet.
Yeah. David, ever the pro, he's got both the national flags, the Macanese flag and the Irish flag. All we need now is to see the happy, smiling face of Alex Denning. I love all the passion that goes. They'd already had the title, but to add another win, when it was looking quite tricky in the race today, they ended up, but fans from the Emerald Isle coming to cheer on Alex and the gang.
Especially if they're on used tyres, that's, you know, even more impressive.
Yeah, a bit of a learning curve there. And every little element you can knit in to try something a little bit different. Tell you what, let's go down and hear from a driver with Dakota, a driver who already has 8 wins in the bag as well as the title, Charles Leong.
Charles, 8 wins in the bags and the title's in your bag as well. Let's put this lovely hat on you. Look, here we go. That looks great on you. Congratulations, Alex. Oh my God, you really left it to the last minute. Look, Charles was thinking I was bad luck coming to interview him and you got overtaken by Giacotto.
Yeah.
But finally, you made the move. And here you are.
I might have even made Charles excited for once. If that doesn't make you excited, I don't know what will.
What happened? Why'd you leave it to the last minute?
Oh, I don't know. I came out of the pits, the pace seemed fairly okay, and then just getting through traffic and battling as well tended to overheat the rear tyres. And to be fair, Giacotto rolled off the brakes and gave me an offer I couldn't refuse other than turn out of the corner. So yeah, hats off to him. It was a nice move. And yeah, the pace just really came to me then. I looked after, managing tyre temperatures, catching after him, trying to get in his mirrors and his head as much as I can. And on that last lap, Hakkinen Schumacher was playing through my mind.
Oh gosh, well that was a long time ago. But yeah, how did it must have felt great passing obviously long-standing Super Trofeo driver Jonathan Cecotto. So he was really miserable getting out of the car. He didn't want to talk to anyone, so you've definitely done a number on him. Charles, you proud of your teammate and proud of yourself?
Yeah, I'm very proud of the team overall this year. It's 8 out of 12 wins, and yeah, like I couldn't ask for more. And overall pace, we're a very good pairing. Everyone is very consistent over the year, so it's a mega job that everyone put everything together. No mechanical failure the whole year as well. So yeah, it's a very special package that we put together.
There you go, guys. That's Alex.
This guy here, he saved the tyres for me. We started on old tyres, so I give this one up to Charles. Well done.
Yeah.
There you go. That's Alex Denning and Charles Leong, your pro champions in Asia and race winners.
Thank you very much. They've done the quotes, done the interview. Now they're being micromanaged. Get everything right. That's the professional level of top teams like SGM Theodore Racing. They know there is a lot of boxes to be ticked. Winning the race is one thing, but you've got to make the most of it. And again, lovely to see that team spirit down there. They race together and they win together.
Yeah, they've got a very good dynamic there, and it shows with the success they've had all season.
Yeah, you need a top team to win, and you know, I feel for Jonathan Cecotto, and it was interesting the comment there from Alex Denning that Jonathan's get breaks had clearly he'd taken them to the nth, and there wasn't quite nth plus one, and it wasn't for want of trying, and it certainly made for very good TV. But you know, more from you can sense when you're in the chasing car more what's happening with the car ahead than we can. We don't get to see it at every corner because of course the TV director will move around to look at the other cars in the other classes, but again, these tiny little differences are the things that you racing drivers have, these very special antennae, the receptors you have to spot difference in performance.
Yeah, when you're chasing the cars in front, you're just looking for any sign of weakness or mistake or difference in line. As we saw in the first stint, Chris van der Drift thought he saw a gap, but slightly misjudged it and it went wrong. But clearly on this occasion, Alex Denning, Johnny Cecotto, he found a weakness, saw a gap and managed to stick the car up the inside.
Yeah, so many factors to be considered, and for all these drivers now, they'll be processing every single element of each of the corners of every single lap of this race and putting that knowledge together, knowing they've got the World Finals coming up. But there's one little difference. It's likely to be the similar temperature to today, but on Saturday and Sunday during the World Finals, there is some rain on the way. But let's go down to the winners in Pro-Am with Dakota.
A spectacular win in Pro-Am, guys. I know you don't speak any English, so he's going to translate later for you. But congratulations, is the moral of the story. How does it feel to be standing here in Super Trofeo Asia's last race?
Feel very happy and gracious. Yeah.
Do you want to say something in Chinese as well? I mean, someone at home's going to know.
很开心可以夺冠。
How about you? Chinese?
也非常开心，我们经过1年的努力拿到了这个全年的冠军，非常开心。我想来一杯啤酒庆祝一下。
Sadly, I can't translate that, but someone at home knows what they mean. Thank you very much, guys. Mgoy, thank you, Shei. There you go.
Thank you very much. That was Kai Junli and Kikan Kao, who had to watch the second half of the race in the pit wall. And again, that was the final title to be sorted. That was the Pro-Am title, and it was sorted with a couple of laps to go. One slip up in any direction, it could have been different. Certainly, there was a fantastic championship battle with Changmu Li pushing them really hard. But incident in that race, but we got pretty much all the cars home to the finish. 2 cars didn't make it, but 19 of the 21 did. And in the Pro-Am class, well, it was very busy indeed. And look, as the front runners were trying to come through the field, trying to thread the eye of a needle, and 211 went on to get toppled. At this point, it was in front of the race, Jonathan Cecotto, and this was the point. This was the overtake. The traffic, for once, was not the friend of the race leader. Jonathan Cecotto tried to guess where the gap was going to open. It didn't, and Alex Denning was there to pounce. So fantastic to see that replay. Not too long before the finish, this was the first point at which Alex Denning could back off. There was the finish finish line. There was the checkered flag, and there was win number 8 out of 12 in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia. No wonder they are champions. And in the other races, they didn't do too badly either. They got 1, 2, 3, 4 second places, never lower than second. 4 seconds, 8 victories. Well, that's why the sky's brightening up for them. Title in the bag with some considerable style for SGM Theodore Racing.
Yeah, you don't get many seasons as good as that, so they need to really soak it up, because to get nothing worse than a second place, is some season.
No, absolutely so, and it also shows, as we heard, no mechanical defects. In fact, in the Super Trofeo, they're remarkably rare, which is testament to the strength of these cars and the consistency of these cars. But it's about tyre management, it's about placing the car at the right point on the track. Almost feel as though night is falling here. Yes, it is on the Asian Series, but there, with win number 8 in race number 12, Charles Leong from Macau and Alex Denning, very much from Ireland, winning today's race by just half a second, got through with a lap and a half to go. And already the championship in the bag. What a fantastic season. Nick Stati running solo, finished in 3rd, and he is definitely going to be one to watch if he comes out to play in the Super Trofeo next year. He's just had 2 wins in the European Series as well. Ethan Brown, Jacob Riegel, good flashes of speed for the younger Singaporean through the course here. 4th place today. Top runner in the Pro-Am class was not the championship winner, but it was car number 263, the team from Korea, SQDA Grit Motorsport. Top runner in 11th place in Am was the Lees, Dongshu and Donghui, and the top runner in the Blue Flash class, which is Lamborghini Cup, was Eng Peng Go and Sang Ho Kim, coming home in 17th position overall. 2 cars didn't get to finish, everyone else did. And the season is over. The cars being returned to the paddock and to Parc Fermé. But the drivers, they're being kept there. The successful ones are going to be brought out onto the podium. And okay, already up on the podium is driver of car number 277, which is Nick Stati, all on his own. And here comes the crew in 2nd place, Jonathan Chicotto, and with the hat and the cap, Gavin Huang alongside him. Jonathan, a big sigh there. It could have been victory. After yesterday, he deserved something. And the top step wouldn't have been too unusual. But here they come. They've done it before. They'll probably do it again. Alex Denning and Charles Leong, already champions. That was the icing on the cake for them. Smiles all round. Opposing characters, we pointed out yesterday. The much more controlled Charles Leong and just the ebullient and effervescent Alex Denning alongside, enjoying every single second. He'll have learnt a lot of tracks new to him this year, racing in the Asian Series, and you never know what championship he might be competing in the future when he goes to see them all over again. There we are. It's a truism, winning never gets boring.
Certainly not.
And the Denning family and friends just enjoying their visit to Italy, but they know they've got 2 more races coming up when we get to the World Finals here on Saturday and Sunday. But what a season they've had. And of course, there'll be a trophy also for the winning team for SGM Theodore Racing, and that's from Hankook from their motorsport division.
To the drivers, we are ready to get all together on the first step of the podium, closer. More as you can, please. Look in front of you for the pictures.
So applause all round, smiles on the top step, and what a season. Never lower than 2nd, but twice as many wins as 2nd places, and not just a championship title, but a dominant title for Charles Leong and Alex Denning. So I think they might afford themselves a little bit of fizz. The racing tomorrow starts a little bit later in the day, so they could have another hour before they get up for breakfast. Gavin Huang first with the fizz. Nick Stati on the right-hand side, the 17-year-old from Western Australia. We'll see more of him, I'm sure of that.
A little bit cold to get covered in champagne.
Yes, it might be. Could we have soup? So this was tight all the way to the finish. The lead had changed. It looked as though there was nothing that Alex Denning could do. Looked as though the race was being controlled by Jonathan Chicotto. However, it all changed around in traffic that had favoured everyone except the chasing Alex Denning. Then suddenly it came back to him with a vengeance. And look at that domination. Victory by 57 points. That's the best part of 4 wins in terms of points by which they won. Ahead of Ethan Brown, 4th place today. for him, but really the title was never in doubt from about the midpoint in the season, even if there's been a handful of retirements for Charles Leon and Alex Denning. So what a 2025 season they've had. Can they cap it with success in the World Finals? Now we're going to the Pro-Am podium, and the crew in third place. Third place wouldn't normally make them very happy, but third place today was enough for Kikwan Kao to take the title with Kai-Shan Liu. It's Kikwan closer to us, Kai-Shan on the right-hand side as we look. Third place for them today is absolutely all they required to take the title battle, but oh, it was super, super close. Second place goes to Chris van der Drift and the taller figure of Todd Kingsford. Don't forget, they were fighting over the lead of the race when Chris van der Drift spun his fellow Kiwi around. It delayed them with the penalty, 10 seconds extra in the pit stop, but he fought back well, Todd Kingsford, eventually only 8 seconds down on the winning crew, which is the 2-6 crew from SQDA Grit Motorsport. Brian Chang-Woo Lee, or Brian is his nickname, and Jetong Liang on the top step.
Dalla parte opposta del podio, l'argento spetta Todd Kingsford e Chris van der Drift.
So, as the trophies, there must be an enormous truck that delivers all the Super Trofeo trophies. 4 podiums for each of the races, and this weekend, of course, for most of the drivers here, 4 races in all to go for, but they're great-looking trophies. Rather sharp at the top bit, I must say, but...
yeah, certainly a good contract to have for producing the trophies for Lamborghini Super Trofeo.
Yeah, make a mental note. But yeah, so great to see. Again, it's always wonderful in a 4-class championship to see that we look at the overall race and then we see where the classes fit in within it. But for each of these drivers, all their target, yeah, an outright win would be fantastic. But I tell you what, they're all aiming at class victory because that's for which you score the points.
And it does happen from time to time.
It does.
A sneaky Pro-Am or Am driver that's really, really quick and has the luck fall their way can win overall.
Yeah, absolutely they can.
Look downstairs with the trophies, please. Picking up. Great. Okay.
So, top step. They came here second for this final race on points. Victory today just wasn't quite enough. Moving into third place was enough for the crew on the right-hand side of the podium. LK Motorsport by Climax Racing, Kai-Shan Liu and Kikwan Kao. And now they can let the spray fly up on the podium. And car 203 might have ended up third overall. Had its problems, remember, at the start of the race. Went for a spin, looked as though they'd presented themselves a mountain to climb. But they did start the race with a 7-point buffer. And in the end, it was enough for them to win by 2. It could have very much gone wrong. Chang-Woo Lee didn't have a constant teammate all year, but really drove very, very strongly indeed. So he can be proud, but now he's got to recover his mojo, if you will, and his momentum by doing well in the World Finals. That's always one thing about this meeting. Wherever it moves, it moves around the world, largely in Italy over recent years. But redemption in the World Finals, where all the Asian runners will pitch themselves against the North American Super Trofeo runners and also the European. A lot of them be racing drivers they've never met before out on the circuit. 299 crew out onto the podium first. That's Damien Hamilton and Zhu Bizhuang. This is in the AM class. 205 crew, HZ Fortis Racing by Absolute, Hairi Zairolo and Hazik Zairolo, drivers from Malaysia. And coming out onto the top step is the 276 crew of Donghui Li and Dongsheng Li. Just waiting for those to come up for the Chinese team, Climax Racing, and they look pretty happy with life.
In Misano.
And that makes it a 3-class victory for today's winners. So that's a good haul across 12 races. So they're becoming accustomed to winning, and they've taken the double here at Misano.
Congratulations, guys.
Just quickly looking down, I just noticed the last message on our timing screen was Alex Denning was on his final warning for track limits abuse. One more, and he had to roll the dice, and that could have cost them victory, would have put them back into second place. So there you go, pushing to the limit.
Certainly.
So winning team, just to stress here in the AM class, Climax Racing. It's always good to see a team member being as happy as the drivers on the podium. You just have to remember how much effort goes in to get the success and combine all the elements. It's easier to get it wrong than right in motor racing.
Arguably on a race weekend, the mechanics do the bulk of the work.
Yeah, always last to lunch. They do eat the most, though. Yeah. They've done the work, though. And now champagne. But it's good to say, and I must say the catering for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo is very good. We're talking about how you can eat your body weight if you really feel like it, but the agenda is so packed. And great to see the delight up there on the podium in the AM class. Damien Hamilton getting stuck in on the right-hand side of the podium. Can't see. It's horrible when you get champagne in your eyes.
The worst.
But for the 278 champion in class, Sutiluk Buncharoen, and he's just again been super consistent. There he is, 16 points clear at the end. He was 16 points clear before this round, so he didn't lose any ground, but he'd done the hard work earlier in the season. And the Thai racer for True Visions Motorsport, yet again doing just such a good job. He got a few class wins earlier in the season, and he really built on those. And it's about scoring in every round if you possibly can. If you can be on the podium in every round, then you're very much in with a shout.
Consistency wins championships.
Right, in the LC class, Dr. Chi Min Ma in third place for Arrows Racing. There he is. He's waiting for the crew that came home in second. Well, it's not a crew, it's one person. It's the man who took the title earlier, Superchai Weeraborwanpong, and he just absolutely has had such a fantastic season. But the crew from 217, Lamborghini Bundang by Racecraft, Eng Peng Go and Sang-ho Kim coming onto the top step of the podium. It's good to see the affection with which the drivers hold each other and the respect. They might be a bit tough with each other on the track, but they've got to race all year, all around the world, so it's better to make friends than enemies. And certainly if you get down to the Lamborghini Cup class, there's a little bit more space cut between the drivers. If there's any contact, it's possibly just down from over-enthusiasm. But these are gentlemen racers, and they absolutely love their racing. Some will step up the order as they go, and for others, this is very much the level they want to be racing at. And really, the real story in motor racing is racing something in which you can be competitive. Love to see the enthusiasm from the team representative of Lamborghini Bundang by Racecraft coming out. So he's won the race himself. Two-arm salute.
Together, guys, on the first step of the podium for the picture.
He remembered to mention the sponsor, the manufacturer that made it all happen. A tick in the box there, everything being caught on film as well.
PR dream.
Yes. Well, champagne's going to be sprayed, and you certainly feel the Climax Racing team chief. Well, he's been given a bottle. I think he deserves that.
These guys are sensible. They'll save it to drink later.
Yes. Older heads, wiser. With the exception of me, that is. Well, what a season it's been. And for all these drivers, this is their final race of their individual championships from the Asian Series, the North American and the European. But we're going to go to the World Finals. And Superchai Weeraborwanpong just got it done yet again. And a Thai racer, Sutiluk Buncharoen, won the AM class, and a fellow Thai racer, here we are, Superchai on the top step, 47 points clear of Kruma Prabhakaran, who didn't have the best of meetings here. But really, it's consistency for Superchai, plus experience. But for him, not so accustomed to racing in these cool conditions, just did the job required. And there he is. And oh, the biggest podium you've ever seen, all the champions coming out there. But let's go back for one last time to look at the highlights of the 12th and final race of Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia 2025. It was a rolling start, and Chris van der Drift on pole. Looks like he got the job done. Brendan Leach on the outside, dropping back, but there was a charge up the inside. Tiny bit of contact potentially, or else maybe just trying to outbrake. And the braking wasn't so good further down the field, but into the lead went Brendan Leach. Chris van der Drift into second. Then you can see from 7th place backwards a bit of contact, and one of the drivers, Deepo Madan, going nowhere. The car wouldn't steer. Luckily, nobody got caught by his 286. That brought out the safety car. Almost needed another. This was the lead battle between the two Kiwis. Brendan Leach being given a push and a shove from Chris van der Drift. Would be a 10-second penalty for the white card van der Drift. And then the battle to the end of the race was between 232 Alex Denning and 211 Jonathan Chicotto. Shoulder to shoulder they went. The places did swap, but they'd swap back again when they got into traffic. And there was the move into turn 15. A wing mirror went missing from Alex Denning's car, proving there was contact. Looked as though that was over and out at the top of the race. That would be how they finished, but it wasn't. Still mileage to go. The Lees leading the way in the AM class in 2:76. Liang leading 2:63. And this is the moment. 2 back markers. And the guess was wrong from Jonathan Chicotto. He thought one would move to the right, it stayed to the left. And Alex Denning didn't need a second invitation. What did that lead to? Win number 8. He's already the champion with Charles Leong. And how sweet was that one? To push, to shove, to have a race and to get away with it all with yet another win is exactly what SJM Theodore Racing was looking for. No wonder they were smiling and cheering and hugging in Parc Ferme. David Kennedy and Teddy Yip Jr. leading the celebrations. And what did the drivers say? Don't wreck the car, but they still got on the roof. But the celebration, particularly from the Emerald Isle, loud and proud. And there it is, the trophies for the 8th time, the winners' trophies, 4 second places across the 12 races for them. Worthy champions for 2025. And as the light fades on Friday, 2 more days of racing to come at Misano, the Adriatic coast of Italy. The World Finals starting tomorrow, Saturday. Do make sure you join us. It's goodbye from me, Bruce Jones, and from Jack Bartholomew.